What an exciting morning already. Just unbelievable fishing with Captain Al Clowers in the kelp at Point Loma, and then fishing with Justin Bottrell offshore bluefin. It doesn't get any more real than what we're doing here at Your Saltwater Guide. No one does what we do. No one puts in the time and the effort to bring you the best quality content on the planet. And once again, I'm blessed to have Michael Folks with us on Tuesdays, always on Tuesdays. Inside Sport Fishing, the producer of that, and now the history of sport fishing. Michael understands what we're doing here, and he has pretty much congratulated me about 9 million times, and I take it. I love it, Todd. And then we got Todd Manser with us today, gang, and you all know who Todd is. You guys seen him on the podcast many times. You guys go wherever Todd's at for his seminars, so I'm super blessed today to have these two guys with me. I'm super excited. And Michael and Todd have put together some of the finest content ever done with the Inside Sport Fishing. The series that you guys did together, the El Nino of 91, I think it was.
El Nino invasion.
I don't remember what year it was, Todd. You?
That would have been 92, I think.
El Nino
93 we had all the yellowfin.
Okay.
So on kelp. So that day where we were really getting them on, that was 93.
93.
Yeah. And then we had some really good yellow fishing, yellowtail fishing too.
Yep.
So that was 93.
And then Todd and I have been together since Todd was born, and we got that story we told before, Michael. I don't think you've ever heard it. Todd was conceived in my bed.
It's not a lie.
In your little sleigh bed?
Yeah, well, when Todd's father, John, worked for my dad off the end of the San Clemente Pier. So in Todd, when were you born? 65, 66?
66.
Yeah, so I was like 4 years old or 5, and Todd's mom and dad, Katie and John, they were getting ready to buy their house, and they needed somewhere to live. So my dad and mom let them live at our house, and I slept on the couch, and they slept in my room. And then the next thing you know, here comes little baby Todd.
That's the truth.
So cool. We go back a few days, Todd and I.
Cool.
Yep.
It's pretty cool.
Talk about lifetime friends.
Yes. Pretty much brothers.
Yep. Brothers from a different mother.
Yep.
All bound together by the same passion.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Yeah. When Todd and I were running the boats for my dad, or when Todd was running the Cy Polaris before he went to work, or no, you already worked for the old, I don't remember. The timeline's so gnarly, but when Todd and I were running sport boats together, it was such a fun time. Him and I were just working together every day. No one knew what the hell we were doing. We were just out there whacking away at the fish, having the time of our lives as young captains. It was pretty cool.
Well, I was running the Cy Polaris and you were running the Seahorse, and you and Donnie Brockman had figured out that there was yellowfin just like they are in the tropics under the dolphin. And for the longest time, it was pretty much just you, me, and Donnie catching that fish under the dolphin. And I had days where it was so good that we were jack pulling yellowfin. It was just absolutely amazing. And nobody knew we were doing it. And back then, and a lot of people don't, it's the whole, gosh, it's already May, it's June. Where is everything? Well, back then, and on the average, when that stuff would show up, it was late August, and it was usually tropical tuna, which means it came with skipjack tuna that was planktonically coming across, from the areas of, we'll just call it Hawaii. And then it would show up here, and usually we'd see it for a while, and there'd be so much forage in the water, so much anchovy that the stuff would be eaten that you couldn't hardly get a bite on the stuff. But we called it a spectator sport. We'd look at it. Of course, our technology is better today. We'd probably have caught it, but back then, we were sliding on schools and throwing bait, and it took until all that skipjack just had an appetite like an elephant, and it would just eat up all that forage, and then the stuff would go to biting. And it was usually just about the time the kids went back to school after Labor Day, and there'd be pretty much just an open ocean for us to just go out there and just have the greatest time. And we would fish, you know, on good years when we had that yellowfin, that tropical tuna, and the skipjack, where we would fish all the way through November, you know, just to have
Yep.
spectacular fishing and great anglers on the boat. Unbelievable anglers buying tickets to come out and go 3/4 day fishing, because we didn't have a 5 to 5 back then. You know,
Yep.
you either went on an overnight boat or you went on a 3/4 day boat. But back then, Dave and I, when we were fishing 3/4 day, we didn't get in at 3. We got in at like 8. But fuel was only $1. So,
Yep.
you know, it was a lot more, you know, it was a lot cheaper, you know, to run your business then. And I don't want to, you know, it was economically feasible to stay out that late. And now for every hour you're running the boat is an hour out of your pocketbook. You know, it's a different story. But
Yep.
but man, there's times for me and Dave and Brockman and Chris Goebel and Irick and these, we'd chase barracuda up the coast, and then it would disappear, and we'd go find it on 3/4 day trips, and we'd fish it at Catalina Island. And I mean, it was a different ball game back then. And people were fishermen. It didn't matter if we were going calico bass fishing, if we were going sand bass fishing. The quality of the anglers we had when the barracuda would show up in May, and
All the way
June.
through.
Oh, everybody could cast a surface iron, you know, 3 boat lengths. I mean, it was just unbelievable the talent you had on the boat. Everybody knew how to fish with 50 people throwing iron. I mean, very rarely would you have to get on somebody for not looking behind them before they cast. And these guys just, we just had so much fun. It was a great era to grow up in, and we had some good times. And me and you, Michael, we got to have some really good times during that era.
Oh, we had some great times, Todd. And you put out so much good dope back in the day. I mean, interviewing with you was just like getting to go into the wheelhouse and getting all the straight information right from the captain. I mean, it was so cool. And you were just, both you and David were just, let's talk about the spots. Let's talk about this. Let's give them all the dope they need to get out there and do it. There's none of this, I'm going to keep it under wraps stuff. You know, you guys had it dialed in and you were willing to share it. I think one of the best trips I ever had was a Thanksgiving trip up here locally.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that fish, once it gets in here, it'll stay.
Sure. Yeah. And, you know, these days, you know, I'm very, very grateful that we have a bluefin fishery here that is producing trophy fish like we've never had in Southern California. I'm very grateful for that. But with that and the ability for everybody to post a picture of their 200-pound plus bluefin tuna, it has kind of changed the way that people look at what fishing really is. They now, you know, to a lot of people, and I talk to, you know, I have clients, they'd rather go fish for bluefin tuna and catch nothing than go fish calico bass. And I tell them that's not what this is anymore. But anyways, you get my point. That this fishery and social media together have kind of changed people's perspective. And if they can't go catch a big bluefin tuna, it's not fishing. Well, my personal favorite thing to do is to fish calico bass.
Yeah.
That's my, and I have caught everything and made a living catching everything from anchovies to swordfish. And yet the one species that has taught me the most about how to analytically observe feeding habits and habitat and conditions and how to present has been the calico bass. And if you can learn to successfully fish calico bass, like Alex the Barber and so many others, there's not a species on the planet that you won't successfully be able to fish for.
That's so true. Dave had a perfect example of that on his trip up to Alaska here a couple of weeks ago when they were fishing, you know, using our calico bass techniques for fishing all that black cod up there.
Yep. Dave, it's just such an amazing fishery. It's such a sustainable fishery. And in my opinion, I like the other day, I took a group out. I actually ran it. I know I've retired from sport fishing, but I ran a charter the other day for a friend of mine for Corey on the current, and he was shorthanded, needs some help. His captain Travis was going to his family's funeral, and I told him, hey, that's the kind of guy I am. I'll be there. If I'm available, I'll be there. And it ended up the client that showed up had chartered the boardroom over the years, and when they got down to the boat, they were like,
"Oh my God!"
They started bringing up pictures of everything. Well, they had a 7-year-old on the boat, and they had a 10-year-old boy and girl. The boy was 7, the girl was 10. And the first thing that he said was, we wanted to have this experience for my son because I've taken him out like 3 or 4 times and he hasn't caught anything. And I said, well, today he's going to lose count. And we did. I took him to all the areas where you could just catch as many as you wanted. We did have a sea lion that kind of ruined it for us for a little bit, but that's just, it's part of the program these days. And we caught hundreds of calico bass the easy way. Where they're just clouded up. And now that they've gotten a little bit more experience with it, I said, guys, I want to take you and do some technical calico bass fishing. So we went and we fished State Park kelp, which there's a little bit of kelp there. Dave, you remember State Park. And I said, this is different now, guys, because most of the spots we're fishing, there's no kelp. So now when you guys are casting your bait out, I want you guys to cast out to the edge of the kelp or even in a little hole of the kelp. You're going to feel that fish bite. You're going to let them run. When you hook them, you're going to actually have to technically get that fish through the kelp and get it back. And they had so much fun doing that. And that's just some of the things about calico bass that I love is there's so much diversity in that fishery. And
there's so much of a challenge to get them to bite.
Oh, absolutely.
Presentation of the bait and how you present your bait and what you're doing after it hits the water. It's such a technical fish to get to bite. Is
100%.
One of the reasons I love catching it so much because it's like, yeah, I did my job. I got him to bite.
Hold on 1 second, Todd. Just stop for a second.
Is that possible?
I don't think so. But 2 things. We're flying through so much content and talking about so much cool stuff. Today is sponsored by Promar. Promar handles everything you could possibly want as far as fishing goes, gang. They have everything. We'll show you a cool little video in a minute on how to take care of your bait. But Todd, Michael and I, we had Don Brockman as our guest a couple weeks ago on a Tuesday, and we kind of let the cat out of the bag. We were at Donnie's house figuring out how to use our 2-meter radios. This was 89. Gang, I know y'all think I'm brand new to the industry. This was back in 89. Most of you probably weren't even born yet. We were figuring out how to use the 2-meter radios. And Donnie had a VHS tape with the tribute to tuna, Michael Folks's very first movie that made him famous. And we were watching that, figuring out how to use the radio. And Donnie goes, hey, see those spinner dolphins? They're acting exactly like our common dolphins. He said, tomorrow I'm going to load 100 scoops of bait on the freelance. I'm going to go out there and try it and see what happens. And I told the story. And then Donnie was there, so he backed it up. He slid into his first spot of dolphin that day, Michael Folks style. And literally, Todd, he hung 90 fish. On the first stop, they hung 90 and they got none.
Yeah.
I thought Donnie was going to have a heart attack. He's calling me on the 2-meter and he's going, Hanson, you got to get over here and don't fish with anything less than 100 pounds. I'm like, I don't have anything on the boat. It's
20-pound string went 0 for 90.
0 for 90. It's hard for anybody to comprehend that. They're listening to us and they're thinking we're telling fairy tales, but it's true, gang. We don't have any reason to lie to any of you. We're not married to you. And then the other thing, the reason why Todd jumped on the chance to run the current, let's be honest, Todd, anchovies. If they had 12-inch sardines, you would have said, I'm way too busy.
Yeah. No, it was so neat to just, braille a scoop of bait and watch the stuff just come up crashing around. And it's just so much fun. So I've been giving, I've just about finished up my seminars for the year. This year, my topic was anchovy fishing because as we see this forage come back, a lot of people, they're hesitant to believing that this is a great bait for Southern California. I can't tell you how many thousands of yellowtail, yellowfin tuna, albacore, bluefin tuna that I've caught on anchovies, not to mention all the sand bass, the barracuda, and the bonito, and and everything that goes along with it. But there's a lot of different techniques to fishing anchovy that it can be helpful to people understanding. For one of the first things about that, the anchovies, it's not as strong as a sardine, but it does like to swim down into the water column a little bit differently. The big eyeball, the way that anchovies are set up, they're capable of gilling in deep water to get micronutrients as they feed. So they love going down because they love colder water, where sardines like warmer water. So sometimes if you have a cold subsurface temperature and a warm surface temperature, it's really hard to get your sardine to get down and get a bite. But I would explain in my seminars how we've advanced with braid line, but braid line floats, and anchovies aren't as strong as sardines. When I fish fly line sardine or fly line anchovy, I want to make sure that I have enough monofilament on my reel to where the knot never comes off, but I have braid underneath. But while I'm fishing calico bass, I want to have enough monofilament so that my bait can swim through the water, not have a flotation device, not have a bunch of drag, even though the diameter is smaller on braid line and you can go down to fishing 15 and 20 pound and have better success with it. It's still not the same as monofilament. And so I like fly lining with monofilament more than I like fly lining with braid. Not to mention, sometimes the way the fish bite, you end up missing fish because there's absolutely no stretch in braid. But the other thing that I explain to people is the different techniques and ways that we hook anchovies. So if for some reason I'm fishing sand bass and not calico bass, we're fishing sand bass, could be on structure, could be in the mud, because the sand bass came back this year, baby, and they came back good. I mean, they're catching them great. I'm so excited because this is a fishery that I know so much about. I know about their forage, their migratory patterns, their range, and I knew that this was a sustainable fishery, and I knew that we were going to see this again, and lo and behold, amazing fishing. But if I'm fishing anchovy and I'm fishing, where I'm going to be using some sort of weight, an egg sinker, torpedo sinker. Back in the day when me and Dave were running sport boats, the rubber core was, I mean, that was the staple. An 1.5 ounce rubber core was like, if you didn't have one, you weren't catching anything. But when we fish anchovies, we want to pin them through the nose when we're fishing with a weight, so it drags them down rather than sideways. But when we fly line, a good fly line anchovy fisherman is going to collar hook. And so it allows the bait to swim freely through the water without having the toggle effect or the bridle effect of having to pull the line through while being pulled sideways by its nose. It's down on the collar. And so these are some of the things that I talked about in my seminars in 2025 that I think were interesting to people. The type of tackle that we used to fish with, the parabolic rods, the TSM2, which is one of my favorite reels. The Daiwa Sea Line 20 was one of my favorite reels, and they could cast so far. And now we've come so far with our tackle. The low profile reels, like the Komodo from Okuma, which is one. I have a Komodo that I have caught literally. It's the 471. I have caught everything. I have hooked everything. I've caught wahoo, I've caught yellowfin, I've caught bluefin, I've caught grouper, I've caught yellowtail, I've caught rockfish. It doesn't matter, halibut. We were fishing rockfish on the front side of Catalina Island, and I kept hooking something that just kept breaking me off. And finally, I hooked it. And I had my deckhand Eugene grab my rod with my little low profile Komodo, and I chased it down. It was a 12-foot great white shark snagged in the tail, and it came to the surface. That was what I did with a little Komodo. So our technology has changed so much that we can cast so well. When they first came out with lever drag reels, and I know I talk too much, guys, but when we first came out with lever drag reels, you couldn't cast a bait with them because the curve was too sharp. So in order to go and get the right drag pressure, when you went to free spool, you could barely pull a line off the spool. Now our lever drags, like the Machaira, I can take a Machaira 15 and I can cast a sardine or a mackerel a mile. I mean, I can literally spin that spool and it never stops, but still have the drag curve to give me 40 pounds of drag if I need it. you know, it's just the technology has changed so much. But back in the days when we were fishing anchovies, man, if you didn't have a TSM2 or a Squidder Junior or a Sea Line 20, man,
a new 220 or something. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to give Todd a second to breathe here.
Yep.
And just hold on 1 second, gang. This is kind of important to have one of these in your spread from now on because everything's starting to happen. This is from Promar. This is the Cedar plug. Check this video out. We'll get right back into Michael and Todd here. All right, gang. Your saltwater guide, Captain Dave Hansen, with some more bitchin' Ahi Promar products. So, PromarAhi.com. Different products, but what we're talking about today is the lure that I always have in the spread, whether I'm fishing marlin or I'm fishing tuna or fishing bonita or fishing yellowtail and we're trolling. We always have the 6-inch wood cedar plug color, the natural color cedar plug. This is by Ahi, Promar Ahi. You go to the store, look at the cedar plug variety. They have the daisy chains, but I'm telling you, you always have to have the natural wood in the pattern behind the boat. What eats these? Marlin, wahoo, tuna, dorado, yellowtail, bonita. People have even caught white sea bass on them, trolling along the edges of the kelp. I'm telling you, the cedar plug, the natural color 6-inch. So check out the 6-inch natural wood colored cedar plug and all the other products over PromarAhi.com. Thank you. And Todd, isn't that an amazing lure? Because you remember albacore fishing in the 80s?
Yep.
They showed up with those things on the dock, and I know, me personally, I was like, you're not putting that out behind our boat.
I ain't got nothing. It's got no action.
Thing's a chunk of wood.
But it is so amazing. So a lot of people don't know, but those things are actually balanced and keeled. So you want to put them on your line, you want to spin them before you put the hook in, and you want to find where the keel is, because you can spin them 100 times, they're gonna land the same spot every time, and then that's where you're gonna want to put your hook in, facing up, so that you're gonna have more ability for good strikes, and you're not gonna rudder that lure to swim improperly. So by getting that thing weighted properly, getting the hook in properly with the balance of that lure will really increase.
Todd, do you stick a toothpick in the head to help?
I don't.
Okay.
I've never
needed to.
I've never needed to.
Okay.
There would have been times that I would have got bites that I didn't, but I've never pinned one. I just let the hook. It's got a long shank hook. By the way, those hooks are amazing for a lot more than just cedar plugs. That would be a day for a different story, but those hooks work really well on some other lures. But yeah, so I just use the hook and the sleeve that we connect that line there to it. It holds it there pretty good. And the way that those lures keel, guys, you should have a bag of those in your arsenal. And just remember to always, check your leader, because they you don't want to lose them in the middle of everything. You don't want to use that same leader over and over. What tends to happen is, because those hooks are galvanized, and galvanized hooks are better than anything, because if they get stuck in a fish, the electrolysis is going to cause that to corrode, rust out, and disintegrate from the fish. But because of that, if you don't change your leader, you're going to end up getting a rust spot at the eye of the shank, and that rust spot will actually weaken the monofilament connection and the knot, and you'll end up breaking fish off and losing the lure. You'll think, oh my God, I got bit off. No, you just never retied. You never checked your leader.
A really good point, Todd.
Yeah.
So all right. I got to talk for a minute. Cubby is watching us, Todd. He says, hi, Todd. Cubby.
Hi, Cub.
Hey, Cubby.
We both love you very much. All of us love you, buddy, and we're happy that you're watching our show today. Very sad moment. Ozzy Osbourne passed away just now, so that's kind of a big deal. He got to do his farewell concert, though, so like Michael and I were saying before we went live, I guess it was really farewell.
Yeah.
And then the thing that a lot of people don't understand, and you and I, we used to do it with Michael on the boat, and we didn't have Gang, we had Loran C when Todd and I were young. I worked on the boats before we had any of that stuff, and Todd did too, where what we had was landmarks. And
Yep.
a couple of our members are wondering, can you talk about that a little bit? How important that was? I mean, Michael, you were there. You were running charters back in those days. Landmarks were all we had. Then Loran C came into the game, and now Todd and I, Mike, we look at these captains today, and there's Don Brockman watching. Oh my gosh, now we really got to act right. But the landmark thing, I remember when Don Brockman and I made the coastal videos with
Yep.
Danny Jackson and stuff, and we would sit on the back of the boat and tell Joe Berrien to slow down. Hey, slow down, turn on the photometer, get in 10. Oh, and we'd run over Rocky. Go, how do you do that? It's like, it's called landmark, son.
Yep.
And, talk about that for a minute, Todd. Let everybody know, because they all hear me talk about all this stuff all the time. Kind of back up my stuff.
Yeah. So there's a couple things that come into play with landmark fishing. First of all, you can do it back in the days. We could do it with a flasher. We had mostly, we had paper meters, but you kind of wanted to know a little bit about your depth. Yeah, although we used, we could use landmarks for rock fishing and stuff like that, and still get on them pretty good. But a lot of it, you still had to have the technology of a fathometer or some way of understanding depth. And then we're taking two lines of sight. Like, for example, there's still a landmark that I'll give out that is very easy to line up a spot in 10 fathoms. The underpass at Poche lines up right in the middle of the water tower at the top of the hill. And if you come in from 11 fathoms and drive straight in on that, lined up with the little tunnel that's in the overpass and the water tower, you're going to run over a rock that you've probably never ever seen before. Dave and I dove it with Jay Bush in 1985, and it's just an amazing rock. And so is Clementi Reef. But the way that we use landmarks is by lining up an object behind an object, and then getting those two objects to come together. Now, because we were doing so much, we had to draw pictures. So when you got in the wheelhouse of some of our boats, we were fishermen. We weren't CPAs. We weren't secretaries. We weren't doctors or lawyers, and so most of us, were pretty irresponsible when it came to having good, proper stationery on the boat. So. So a lot of our landmarks were written down on
Cocktail napkins
and sack tags, and so we'd draw out this landmark on the sack tag or the boarding pass, and then we'd have
a cocktail napkin.
Some of the guys were really good, and they actually had a
logbook,
a notebook, but I'd get on the game fish with Shano and you'd be like digging around everywhere. There it is, and you'd finally find that right ticket that had the landmarks on it that you were looking for. But landmarks were everything. My dad told me back when the first Magellan GPS was mounted on the dash of a boat that the way you see fishing today, son, is over. Everybody now is going to be able to go and fish every spot.
Yep.
And in the beginning, I'm like, no, he was exactly right. Because even with the Loran A, Loran A was before Loran C. You triangulated. They would like send a signal out a couple times a day, and you had to get on a chart and figure out where you were. Nobody could get on a spot with that. That just kind of helped you for traveling. And then with Loran C, we got pretty good. I could get on a spot, but the devices that we had didn't have storage waypoints. So you could see that your time and your TDs, but you couldn't. You just knew that if you went this way, they got smaller. If you went this way, they got bigger. Higher number, lower number, and crossways. And we could get on spots pretty good in the fog with the Loran C, but it was still, I mean, for the average angler never could, it would take them forever to figure it out. And of course the average private boater didn't really catch on to the landmark thing. But as soon as the GPS came out, and in the beginning, they had a little deviation on them, so they weren't 100% accurate for a couple of years. But now I can, not only with a GPS, but with navionics and relief shadowing, I can literally put a boat in a keyhole. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
The technology, it's made it. And Michael, maybe, and David, maybe you'll agree with this. The three of us 20 years ago decided that it was important that we strengthen our industry. The three of us together decided that it would be a great idea to come up with some way for people to have the information that we have, so that when they purchase a boat, when they're out fishing, when they come back in, they've had a successful day, so that we can strengthen the industry and not have the spouse. And, you spent so much money on that boat. You break down every time you go out, you never catch anything. And we believed that if we could strengthen the industry, not only would we absorb that problem, but we would also build our industry to where we would have a voice for our fishery and protecting against more MPAs and 30-30. And with more fishing success, you have the ability then to be a bigger community. And that's the thing that we did. So even though the GPS has made it easier than it used to be, it's beneficial to our industry, so that we can have more success. We're still fishing with a rod and reel. We both know, we all three know what that means. That means that there's really no possible way that we're going to fish out an industry with a rod and reel.
Can't hurt a fishery.
And we're the most conservative of anybody when it comes to looking at our habitat and our fisheries. We want to protect our water, we want to protect our habitat, and we want to protect our species, because the most important thing to me was that 7-year-old kid that caught 100 bass.
Yep.
And his kids. So we, as conservative fishermen, are now taking the responsibility of driving the science, of proving the science behind our fisheries through CCA, through Pacific Fisheries Management, through all the avenues, SAC, through ASA. We're showing what the science is, because now we're coming together as a strong community in this fishing industry. I showed up at a fishing club the other day after working all day. And I told these guys, I said, listen, guys, I've given, I don't know how many seminars this year. I did 15 shows at the Pacific Coast Sport Fishing. I've given assemblies for 3,500 kids this year. I said, I'm here today because I love our industry. You're not paying me. I'm here for free. I'm volunteering. And I'm going to spill some information out to you that is going to be so helpful in the success of your day. And I'm doing it for free because I believe so much in our industry, and I believe in helping these anglers have a better day on the water.
You always have, Todd. Hats off to you, sir.
We have come a long ways as a fishing community, from our San Diego long range boats to our half-day boats, our three-quarter-day boats, our local overnight boats, our Ventura boats, our Channel Island boats, our San Francisco boats. We've grown so much, and I'm so proud of our industry, from the 4-pack guys, the 6-pack guys, everybody coming together and giving a great opportunity for people to go out and experience a great day on the water is just so beneficial to saving our ability to fish in California.
Absolutely.
I got something I want to add to all that, though. Gang, and Alex, I read your post. Yeah, the Navionics app is a phenomenal app. That thing is great. But here's the thing. Back in 1987, I went out with a guy, and Don Brockman and I, and we made these hotspots videos. Now you can go down to West Marine or anywhere and get all of our spots. I mean, you can get them on a laminated piece of paper. But one thing that none of those things, the Navionics app, the laminated charts, the book about all the spots, one thing it doesn't do, but what I've done at Your Saltwater Guide and why Michael was so interested in working with Todd and I back in the day is I have 3,300 spots on our website at yoursaltwaterguide.com. I tell you exactly how to fish each and every spot, because just because you see a rock down there, you don't know if you're supposed to fish it on an uphill current, downhill current, offshore wind, onshore wind. If everything matters, gang, every single thing matters. So that's what we've done with all the knowledge that gained stealing from Todd and from Michael and from all the people that I've been able to work with in the industry for so long. So we've done something no one else has done, Alex. So yeah, you can get that Navionics app and you can drive around, look at all those beautiful spots on the GPS if you are on the fish finder, if you know how to use your fish finder, and you can see them, but that you still won't know what the hell to do when you get there. You won't know it. You won't have a clue. You won't have a clue. But like you're listening to Todd talking, Michael, right now, and they're talking about all the different things and everything they're talking about. I have a video about it on the website, which is pretty spectacular. Over 500 how-to videos, over 3,300 spots that we teach you how to fish them. Why do we do this? Well, like Todd said, back in the late 80s, I was the most hated human being on the planet for giving away all these spots. But we knew if we didn't teach you guys how to fish, and back in those days, Michael, let's be honest, there weren't any private boaters. There was
very few.
Very few private boaters. And Doug Harmon, Todd and I's buddy, he used to call them pots, and your dad called them pots.
Yep.
If you saw one or two private boaters on a day when you were out there, you were like, wow, there's a lot of private boaters out here today. Yeah. But as you bought your boats and as you started to find out, and you could see Todd or myself or Michael running our charter boats and catching all these fish, we were like, you know why they're, and we used to think, God, look at that idiot over there. Well, first of all, you can't be an idiot and own a boat because you got to have some pretty smarts to be able to save enough money to buy a boat. You know what they need? They need to be taught.
Yep.
They need some instruction. And there's a bunch of companies out there that want to take your money. Sign up for my website. I'll teach you how to catch a booger. Yeah, but they don't even know how they caught the booger. But I'm telling you, there's so much to learn and so much cool stuff. And Alex, I would love to have you on the show. You're going to be on Pete's show this weekend. Congratulations. Have fun there. We'll bring you out on our show whenever you want. My sister talked about it. Todd's talked about it. I'd love to bring you on the show. You'll enjoy yourself on here and talk about calico bass fishing because it's the most important thing.
Or talk about El Salto.
Oh, God, yeah.
And that's just largemouth bass fishing. That's just lethargic bass, almost like calico bass. You're just catching lethargic lake bass. They're fun to catch. Believe me, I just did it for 8 days in Florida.
I love it.
It's different than a calico. Calicos are just a little bit different, a little more fun, a little more pretty, the places you're fishing. Not a million bugs, not a million mosquitoes. El Salto's cool. I don't like it because there's too many bugs.
I showed up there with surface iron and swim baits because we got invited to go up there, but it was before the lodge had all the tackle and everything, and Billy Chapman was just getting it started. And so we're like, well, what do we bring? We don't have anything. So we like, screw it. We'll bring surface iron. We'll bring some swim baits. And we caught like 100 fish a piece. It was just absolutely wide open.
It is such a fun fishery.
Yeah, that was fun.
I got to tell you, when I first did my very first long range trip back, I don't even remember when it was, mid 70s. It was with Frank Lopresti on the Royal Polaris. And, I'm just jacked. This was my first 16-day trip. I got the cameras. I got some, Newell loaned me a whole set of gear to go long range with. So I was all set up with all Carl's stuff. And I couldn't wait. And Frank called me up to the wheelhouse, and I was just a nervous wreck because, you don't get to go in the wheelhouse of long range boats. And we got to chatting, and I asked him, I'm thinking, we're fishing giant tuna. We're fishing a wahoo. Frank, what's your favorite fish? And I knew he was going to say, giant tuna. Wahoo. And he goes, calico bass.
Yeah.
I went, what? He goes, there's no better fish in the world to catch than a calico bass. Yeah. And it was just like my bubble burst because I'm thinking we're going out catching cows. And
Yep.
he wants to go fish the beach. So it is an amazing fisher. And I think the better you are as a fisherman, the more experience you get, the more you enjoy the bass fishing.
Absolutely. And it's so diverse. You can fish surface iron. I mean, look at what Alex and the guys have done now and the way that they've changed the technique. And I want Alex to talk about this on the show, but the techniques that they've come up with these days for fishing artificials, it's just mind blowing. It's so amazing, but it just shows the diversity of calico bass fishing and how it teaches you so much as an angler. And
you get the bite all the time. You get bit. That's the most fun part of the whole day.
Yeah.
And you're always in a beautiful place.
And Dave, where did Frank Lepresti start out at?
Working for my dad on the Reel Fund.
Sleeping under your dad's feet.
Yeah.
Working for my dad on the Reel Fund. What I try to tell everybody, and Todd and Michael, you guys are here so you can back my stuff up here. People that don't like to fish for calico bass, it's because they don't like fishing.
Or they
want to catch a fish to hold it up so everybody can see their picture with the big fish, but they don't really enjoy the act of fishing. They're not into it. They want to troll. They want to do that. You guys, I'll tell you right now, for us, trolling is not fishing.
Right.
It's a way to locate the fish. Or like Todd and I, we know there's very few times where we don't find the fish before we get bit on the troll, which it wasn't like that when we were young. It was albacore fishing and the fish would find you and you'd sink the boat on the dumb albacore. But people that aren't into calico bass fishing, first, they don't know how to cast. And second of all, they don't enjoy the art of fishing. And that's just what it is. You're never going to, Todd, Michael, and I, we could call each. I'm in Dana Point. You want to go bass fishing? Hell yeah. He drops everything. He runs down. Todd and me, we're like a couple of little kids. We're like giggling. We're on the boat. We're giggling like because we know we're going to go to our favorite spot, Heroines. We're going to go drop the anchor. We took Michael there. We're going to go catch.
Oh, God, I love that.
Heads fall off. And that spot's been fished. That spot's been fished since before you and I were born, Todd, and they're still there.
Yep. Especially when we have anchovies.
Oh, baby. I couldn't even imagine going in there and brailing a scoop of bait. But one thing I want to say, Don Brockman said, hey, the sand bass are biting wide open from Huntington Beach to the Mexican border. Yeah, but you know one place where they're not, which is quite amazing because it's the place where they are. There's billions of them. There's a stretch about 20 miles long that no one's fishing there. It just blows our mind every day, Todd.
And the amount of fish that I saw on the structure the other day, it's got to be there.
Oh, you know it's there. No one looks.
Yeah.
Sorry, gang. Breaking your balls. No one looks. Some tragedy happened yesterday, though. The water company at Niguel Lake, Todd, where you and I grew up fishing, and Michael Folks, you know, Laguna Niguel Lake, they turned off the bubbler system there, and they killed over probably 100,000 fish in there. Largemouth bass up to 15 pounds. Zillions of largemouth bass. Now, these are the people, I'm sorry, these are the people that are trying to close Laguna Beach. These are the people that are trying to stop your children from fishing. These are the people that control the water. There's a big, giant slant to the left. If these people that know way more about the world than you and I and Michael ever will, they turned off the bubbler system at the lake because they thought it would be better for the water. How'd that work out for you, everybody? It's the most tragic thing that's happened in Southern California for a very long time. It's on every news channel right now. Billy Egan from Western Outdoor News ran down there, showed some videos. He's coming on my show on Friday. We're going to talk about this fishery, which it's sad because when we were little kids, Todd, we used to go there and catch trout. That's the first place I ever caught a trout when I was a little kid.
Absolutely. I used to go with John Waters all the time.
My boys used to fish for those carp in the lake. Everything in the lake's dead right now. Dead. They did it. They wiped it out. They wiped out the lake. The powers that be, Michael, the powers that have shut down your city have decided that fish can live without oxygen.
No, I think they just wanted to get rid of the fish, period.
Yeah.
You know, they can't ban us from fishing, so they'll just kill all the fish.
And you know, they're creating a problem now. So now you're going to have an infestation larvae that those fish kept at bay, like mosquitoes, which carry West Nile. You're gonna have a plethora of problems if they don't do something about that water quality and restock that quickly, because as much as it was a recreational place for people to come and enjoy the lake, which is what they would love it just to be, it has to have an ecosystem. And Absolutely. If it doesn't have an ecosystem, it is nothing but a health hazard.
Yep.
Yeah, the bugs are going to be insane.
Just breaks my heart.
Yeah,
wait till you see the pictures. When we're done with this, go on Instagram and look at Western Outdoor News, Billy Egan. You'll see the pictures. It's so sad.
So, Michael, do you remember our first show? Do you remember what we did? I'm going to remind you. It was a Twilight. The first show that you and I did was a Twilight, and I ran the Clemente, and we had absolutely phenomenal calico bass fishing. We were bringing 5-pounders over the rail, all the it was all on anchovy. Well, I think we might have had some brown bait on the boat, but that was the very first show that you and I did, and that had to be it had to be somewhere between 89 and 91, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I ran the Twilight for that show, and that was really like our first real moment of you. You told me, "Oh my God, we got to do more shows together. You're so friendly with the camera. You're so explanatory."
and I love Twilight fishing. It's so cool. You don't have to get up at the crack of dawn.
Well, and that's the other thing too. I mean, with the amount of sand bass we have in these areas, there's a couple spots, and I won't give them out, but I should. But there's some spots that the Twilight fishing. I mean, we used to race for them when the sand bass were in the area, and they got to be there, and especially when they've got anchovies.
Yeah.
And I mean, if there were 5 Twilight boats and you were the first one out, you were like, and then like Dave says, you had to know how to get set up on these spots, and there were deeper water rocks, 9 fathom to 11 fathom mostly, but we did have some stuff inside, Christmas tree and stuff like that, but pretty good. But if you got on Middle Kelp or Clemente Reef, you were going to catch 400 sand bass for your people that night and just have an absolute ball. It was phenomenal. There was nights where we go down and fish the mud, but when the sand bass were around, we go fish those deep water rocks and just absolutely load up. It was just such a fun time. They go through my log books every once in a while on the Some Fun and the different boats that I run, and they'll look and I go, "Oh my God, look at how many bass these guys caught on the Twilight."
I love it. You're talking about drawing pictures and doing your landmarks. I remember gave me some of Bill's log books to work with, and he's the same thing. Alejos Rocks. He had all these drawings in his log book. It was just the coolest thing to see. That's how they fished.
It was truly how we fished. And the crazy thing was, we would see a construction start, be like, "Oh my God. Here they come. It's over. I can't see the cross anymore because they've got this building in front of it, and oh my God! When they started developing the local areas, it was like, okay, we got to start making new landmarks.
Yep.
But the landmark with the church steeple and the telephone pole transformers never changed. Still the same. It's been the same my whole life.
Yep.
So is Middle Kelp. So is Christmas tree. I still, when I fish those spots, I never look at the GPS.
No, the barn, Yellowtail, Patterson. All those.
The tree and the trail. Yep.
On Don Hansen Day, I was telling all the guys on the boat, I go, we're about 40 yards east of it. We're coming up on. He's going to slow down right now. He's going to start throwing chum. They're like, "How do you know?" I go, "Because see that tree?" and
see that barn? See that behind the barn? We're there.
When I was running Twilight, and those of us that have been doing this for a long time, when we first started, we all cut our teeth. Devo, myself, Todd, they would let us have the Twilight.
Yep.
And that was a good way to start as a captain because it's a 4.5 hour out of Dana Point. It's a 4.5 hour trip. You leave at 5:30, you get back at 9:30. You leave a half an hour early to go get your bait. So that's why I called it a 4.5 hour trip. But listen, what I see these guys doing, and I've seen them do it for years, I don't even know how you run an hour down the line on a 4 hour trip. I'm like, Jesus, guys, my rubber band would get to the pier. That's the end of the stretch of the rubber band. And as far as going north, you get to the 50-minute spot, 55-minute spot. That was as far north as I would go. 9 out of 10 times we'd fish Dana Point, we'd fish the Pipe, we'd fish Middle Kelp, or we'd fish Salt Creek. That was it. I don't even understand how you run your 4 hour trip and you run down to Mateo or San Onofre. I was like, dude, what are you doing? You don't even give the people a chance to fish.
All right.
But the 2 hours on the water once they get set up is worth it.
Yeah, sometimes. I don't know. I was different. And also we were fishing for the jackpot. So as soon as we got that fish in the bag, now we'll go fish out somewhere. Never to Neverland. They're like, what's that Neverland spot? Where's that Neverland spot? I go, that's where we go where we know we're not going to catch anything.
Yeah.
We already got the jackpot in the bag. Sorry, gang. If you fished with me back in the 80s, that's why you didn't catch anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that pipe in 7.5 fathoms in front of Dana Point Harbor. Holy moly, guacamole. Those calico bass. Here's another highly migratory species, although the Fish and Game Commission doesn't want you to believe it. The calico bass would migrate, and they would hit that pipe at Dana Point. Then we could follow them from the pipe to Dana Point proper, then from there to Salt Creek, and then you'd follow them from Salt Creek up to the Aliso Pipe when we used to be able to fish the Aliso Pipe. They would disappear because from the Aliso Pipe north, the amount of places for them to go was just crazy. And we're not allowed to fish any of that zone anymore, gang. There's nothing like that on the coast. When you get above the Aliso Pipe, there's 1,000 spots they're closed forever.
Yep.
It's sad.
God, we had so much fun fishing Grumpsville, Betty Davis, Treasure Island. God, remember me and you fishing Treasure Island? Oh my God.
Yep.
So much fun.
Victor Hugo's,
Seal Rock.
No, Victor Hugo's, all those big sheep's head in there.
Yep. Monuments.
Yep.
Rock Wall. All gone. Yep. I mean, they're still there. They're loaded.
We just can't fish it.
Just can't fish it. And they are loaded.
You know they're loaded.
Yep.
It's full speed, full throttle. Well, why we have Todd and Michael on the show, and we still got 5 minutes before we go back to live fishing with Justin. If you guys have any questions, you can throw them up on the side here. We'll look at it. We'll do it. And Jack Bandy, that was the guy. Gang, there's a lot of you out there that love that Palomar knot. You tie the Palomar knot. Listen, Jack Bandy, he invented the Palomar knot. He was the captain of the boat Palomar out of Oceanside. He invented that knot. So when people ask me, don't you know how to tie the Palomar knot? I worked with the guy that invented it. Yeah, I'm pretty good at tying the Palomar knot. Jack Bandy, thank you for bringing up that name, Devo. And boy, we all learned Jack Bandy is the nicest human being in the world until you wash his coffee cup.
I remember when you did that.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, my God. I thought I was doing the guy a favor. This was the most stained coffee cup I'd ever seen in my life, and I washed it, Michael. Oh, my God.
Came unglued.
No, he broke it into a million pieces on the deck because I ruined his coffee cup. You'll never drink out of it again. It tastes like soap.
It was seasoned with years of coffee.
20 years.
I fished with a guy, I think you all know him, Steve DeGroot.
Oh, yeah. God rest his soul.
Stainless steel. He's the Michelangelo of stainless steel. He was a mayonnaise freak, and he would have his jar of mayonnaise with him. And if you mess with his mayonnaise, the day was over. He didn't care about any other food, any other drink on the boat, as long as he had his mayo.
Dave, you might have been able to give him a run for his money.
Here's what I tell everybody when they make my sandwich, Michael. And it blows their minds. I go, hey, I need some mayonnaise on there. And you cannot, it's impossible to put enough on there. Like, huh? I go, yeah, when you think there's enough mayonnaise on there, put some more on.
Yep. It's funny. I love
John
it too.
from River Cats Tackle. I learned that lesson when I was a 19-year-old kid. I didn't know.
I just switched over to a plant-based mayo, a mayonnaise that just is unbelievably tastes good and is really good for you. So
I got to try that.
It's
I'm a mayonnaise fan
Holland
myself.
Oats or what is it? Wild Oats. It's a plant-based mayonnaise and it's freaking delicious.
I just want to watch you milk an almond. That's what I want to see.
And it's all good for you. Milk and almond.
I want to see Michael Folks milking an almond.
I eat them raw every day. I saw a film a few years ago, and it was some scientists up in Stanford talking about health, and it just hit me like a light bulb. You are what you eat.
100%.
And you are what you eats. So it doesn't matter, if you're a vegetarian or plant-based or animal or fish, but you're eating what that animal or that fish is eating, or that poultry. So if you're eating that, protein, make sure it's eating good protein. So
right.
It's a cumulative effort. You were talking about it earlier, Todd, about how things over the years accumulate, and all these seed oils and the crap that they've been putting into food since we were kids. They don't have, our bodies can't get rid of them. It doesn't have anywhere to go.
Right.
So you got to, healthy mind, healthy spirit, healthy heart, good food, high octane protein, good life.
Yep. Absolutely correct. The amount of plastic that's accumulating in our bodies now because of what's being put into the feeds of some of our farm animals, and not from our good American USA grown products, but the other products is just astonishing.
It's frightening.
Yes.
It's frightening. And it's a cumulative effect. It's like, I smashed my head open the other night. That was just a catastrophic event, a traumatic event.
Right.
But it was, they stuck a bunch of staples in and I'm going to be all right. But that accumulative effect of eating seed oils and all this food that's been fed hormones, it's just our bodies don't know what to do with it.
Yep.
I think they're just now, we were fed that stuff for 50 years,
and they were lying to us.
Lying through their teeth. And I think it's, thank God, Trump's team and Kennedy are starting to step up and challenge these, the big pharmas used to be big tobacco.
Right.
Same companies.
Yep.
And with tobacco, they sold cigarettes like it was candy.
Yeah.
Until they shut them down. And now they switched from tobacco to highly processed foods and MGOs. And I go to the shelf, I go, oh, that looks good. And I eat it. And I go, that tastes great, but it's not good for you. So my thought today was healthy mind, healthy heart, healthy body, healthy spirit, and enable you to fish for a long, long time.
Absolutely. And go out and catch yourself a couple calico bass and bring them home and eat them because they're really good for you.
Exactly.
Go out and catch a couple rockfish because they're really good for you.
And it's like Dave said, cheap fish ain't good and good fish ain't cheap.
Yep.
Right.
And especially if you're catching them on your own. The white sea bass, best eating fish we've got in Southern California, bar none.
Yep.
I'll put it up against anything else. There's some other really good species too, but that white sea bass.
The Channel Island fishery the last couple of years and even this year
it's going off.
Unbelievable.
It's going off.
We've definitely had there's been a northern trend.
Yep. And
I'm jealous of that fishery right now. I would give anything to have 30% or 20% of that right here, right now. But kudos to those guys. I'm really stoked for a lot of those guys. They're doing a great job up there of giving, people the opportunity to have some exceptional fishery. There's been some exceptional social media that allowing people to know how wonderful that fishery is at the Channel Islands. Because again, like I say, if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. And that means there's nobody there to protect it and keep us fishing it. So we need, and when I say protect it, I mean protect our rights to fish it, not take it away. Yep. So I believe firmly that, that there's a reason why that fishery is so good, because it's such a vulnerable area for the left to want to close it down. And then with more people seeing how good a fishery it is and getting out there and using it, it's going to give us more people to get on board and support CCA, support SAC, support ASA, get on board with the right people that are trying to make sure that your children's children can go out and catch a fish
Absolutely.
in California.
We're getting 100-pound bluefin off Anacapa. That's what, 11 miles off the beach?
Yeah.
Hello?
Incredible.
100-pound bluefin 11 miles off the beach at Anacapa.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as good as I think it's ever been in Southern California in terms of the bluefin fishery. That's, it's cycled back 100 years ago.
For sure.
So we're so blessed.
When my dad passed away, by the way, and you'd love this, Michael, I got the entire collection of the Zane Grey in leatherback, every volume.
Sweet.
And you go back and you go back 100 years and you look at, you go back 120, and it's a very cyclical thing. And I'm so excited to have these books and
what a treasure.
Stories and
what a treasure.
Absolutely. And, to see what Anthony Shea and Steve Lasley are doing traveling the world, it kind of reminds me of, of how, and just, really amazing and so beneficial to the understanding of our fishery.
Sport. Yep.
Yeah, and the sport. Yeah.
Well, we're going to end the show on this, Todd. Michael and I pretty much do it every time we end the show. Todd, something you don't know because you're like me. We forgot to go to school when we were little. Then they didn't teach this in history anyway. Listen to where the Declaration of Independence was written. Listen to this from Michael. This is what you get when you watch the History of Sport Fishing, gang. I'm putting the QR code right up above my face. You all need to check this out. This is incredible. But listen to this story, Todd.
The coolest thing, Todd, that we uncovered, Tammy Evanson she's the researcher. And the thing that was the most fascinating to me out of 5 years worth of research and study on that sport and fishing it my whole life was that in 1732, along a place called the Schuylkill River, which is where Philadelphia is now, there was a group of guys that got together that were fly fishermen. And they formed this little club called the Schuylkill Fishing Club. And they got together and they nicknamed the place the Castle. And it's still standing today. One of your guys, Dave, a couple of weeks ago was back east with his daughter. And they wrote me and said, we're looking for the Schuylkill Fishing Club. Where is it?
Nice.
So I got them dialed in. I think they found it, but it's still operative today. It kept great records from day one, meticulous.
Wow.
And the guys, you might have heard of some of the guys that formed it. Benjamin Franklin, Patrick Henry, Hancock,
George Washington.
Those are the guys that were affiliated with the Schuylkill Fishing Club, and they formed it so that they could meet together under the guise of a fishing club and talk about what it was going to take to declare our independence from Europe and from Great Britain. And they wrote the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States in the Schuylkill Fishing Club under the guise of it being a fishing club, because had they been caught back in the day, they would have been hung for treason. Wow. So the forefathers of our country that wrote the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution did it under the Schuylkill Fishing Club back in the late 1700s.
I love it.
I thought it was so cool.
I got chills.
I thought it was so cool.
Can you believe that, Todd? And they don't talk about it at any of these fishing game commission meetings or anywhere where they want to close fishing. Our forefathers knew how important fishing was to us as a nation.
It was an act of survival. You didn't know how to fish or hunt. You didn't eat or farm. So fishing was as important as any activity you could do back in the day. And George Washington actually had a tin tackle box, a little tin tackle box with some string and hooks in it that he would take into battle with him.
Wow.
So George Washington fought the Revolutionary War with a tackle box in his hip pocket.
Isn't that wild?
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Like fishing, like being prepared to fish a pond when you're golfing.
Exactly. Some of the best urban fishing around is those golf ponds.
Absolutely incredible. So, gang, I want you all to check out the History of Sport Fishing, and you'll be blown away with that is just one little thing about our history of our favorite sport that brought us all together here on the show today and brings Michael and I with you guys every Tuesday. We try to bring in great guests to be with Michael and I,
nobody's better than Todd.
We couldn't find anyone else, though.
Shutting me up's the hard part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just grabbing you on a Tuesday and you're not in the bilge of 15 different boats was pretty incredible. So I thank you for coming on with Michael and I. It's always a pleasure. Anytime you want to join us, Todd, you're driving around, you have the link. You can jump in. I'll throw you right in while we're doing our show. Because you relate to every single person, and our guests, our fans love it when you're on here. So thank you.
Todd, real quick, Todd, is there a way somebody can get a hold of you if they have some yacht maintenance that they want you to maybe?
Yeah. So I'm kind of capped on managing.
Okay.
I'm
put them on a wait list.
Yeah, I'd put them on a wait list. I'd interview them to see what they're really looking for and make sure that they're, the client that I really want. But for yacht sales and I'm with McCarty Yacht Group.
Okay.
My number is easy to find. It's 949-547-7748. If you're looking to buy or sell a boat, give me a call. They're starting to pick up now. The phones are starting to ring as we get into the summer, and this is the time to sell, and this is when people are buying. So with McCarty Yacht Group, we're a different breed of cat. We grew up working on boats. We still manage boats, so we have an ethical approach to selling and buying boats. We want to make sure that you're getting in the boat that's right for you. And one of Dave's good clients, Chad, and I have been looking for the right boat. And just even yesterday, we looked at a boat, and he asked me what I thought about it, and I said, no, that's just not the right boat for you, Chad, because on a boat that needs to have a lot of repairs or is a project boat, the cost of that these days is really difficult. Whereas another salesman would have said, perfect boat for you. Oh, you liked it? A couple bucks here, and
Does your wife like that boat? It's perfect for you.
Yeah. No, but me, I'm like, this is the right boat's going to come along. And so we try to work that, that approach with our clients and make sure that everybody's happy on both ends. Try to get the most money for the boats we're selling and try to get the best boat for the boat that we're buying. So
it's a love affair. I mean, I don't know if I've got another boat in me personally. I mean, they're all consuming. If you're an owner operator and running that boat seriously, even just for recreational purposes, it still can be all consuming.
Absolutely. Guys, I've got a 33-foot Chris Craft right now that is impeccable. This thing is one of the most gorgeous day boats that I've stepped on. And if you guys are looking for something like that, this thing, I just can't believe how beautiful it is. I've got a Pablo 35. It's a 33 Corsair. Oh. It's just amazing. And this guy he's so meticulous that he literally, just for service work, he takes the engines out and has them completely painted and taken care of and put them back in. I mean, he's that meticulous, and he's practically giving this thing away, guys. We've got it at right now.
Todd, can you send me the link?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I've got a beautiful Cabo 35 that has been meticulously taken care of. I just had the boat hauled, bottom painted, gone through everything. It is a jewel, and we're practically giving this thing away, guys. Make sure you go to McCartyYachtGroup.com or give me a call at 949-547-7748. We've got some great boats right now, and we're making some great deals.
Perfect. I've got a friend that's looking for a 35.
Cool.
Yeah.
This thing, it's an Express. So, if you're looking for a flybridge, I believe Johnny just got a flybridge too. But this 35 Express it's immaculate. Dave actually ran it for a while. It's the no problem. It's gorgeous. It's been redone so that you won't see any of the crazing. It's got beautiful yellow LP hull. Just a dynamite boat. Somebody's going to be in love with it.
I grew up fishing the 33 Owens brig. Love it.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's a lot of bandwidth. It's a whole new approach to what I did for 45 years. I tell people that, now that I'm doing yacht management and maintenance and yacht sales, I look at what I did in the charter boat and party boat fishing industry for 45 years. And I was so blessed. I was so lucky. It was such a great industry, because at the end of the day, you were just, whether you caught fish or you didn't catch fish, especially if you were somebody like me, you or Dave, we gave our passengers the greatest time. But then the day was over. But with yacht management, repair, and boat sales, the bandwidth is just
It never stopped.
it never stops.
You're the first phone call.
Yeah,
My boat won't start.
and I get them in the middle of the night sometimes, and I'll answer the call because I love my people. I love the clients. Even the ones that I've had to go back and forth with or maybe lost. I still help them.
Cool.
It's just the way it is.
No, you're doing a great service to a lot of people.
I'm trying, and
most of us that have boats, we can't afford to spend the amount of time down there on them that we should.
Right.
If you're not, if you're a recreational fisherman.
And you have to do it. You have to do the maintenance because if you don't, when you go to sell it, people just see it as neglect now.
Yep.
And you have to do the maintenance. Pay now or pay more later.
Exactly.
So it just get it done. And make sure you keep up on your boat. When your detailer, when your boat washer says, "Hey, we need to wax the boat," and you're like, "Well, we just did it 6 months ago," he's telling you that you need to wax the boat because if you don't, it's going to start oxidizing, and then he's going to put more compound on it to get it to shine again, which is going to take material off.
Yep.
But if you can just keep a nice wax on it, it's going to last for a long time.
Oh yeah.
And call me if you need a good detailer.
Okay. Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect.
I've got a lot of guys, cleaner, boat washers, boat bottom,
Everybody.
canvas. If you guys need anything, to call Dave or call me. I always help. I'm a Rolodex.
So. I love it. I love it. And a lifetime of knowledge in that Rolodex.
Yeah. Hey, I love both of you like brothers. And it's been great to be on the show with you.
Todd, thank you, man. It's been a pleasure having you on. Dave, thanks for having me on again. It's always a treasure. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys.
Yeah. I think we lost Dave.
Supporting the car.
Dave is sounding.
There. Hello. I don't know what happened. My volume got shut off. Hey, gang, I want to thank you all for watching the show today. Michael, always a pleasure to be my co-host on Tuesdays. Todd, you're the plethora of knowledge. Everybody loves to listen to you. I'm trying to get a hold of Justin, gang. He's still out there. Hopefully we get him to come back on the show live after this is over. But we will be together with you tomorrow, Wednesday. We'll have another phenomenal show for you. And stay tuned to what's going on at Niguel Lake. It's super important to our fishery and our life and everything else. And Alex will bring you on the show as soon as possible. Gang, turn off the news. They're all lying. This is the only place you get the truth, and we'll be spewing more